This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
All right, good morning, and this is another edition of the External Bum Show. My name is Ralph Williams, along with Candy Ebling, filling in for Leo today. Scott Morganroth is here, and we're expecting Jeremy Ballrick anytime in the next few minutes. All right, right now we're in the comments section here, and we have Josh, who says, my bum is on the...
Yeah, Josh was... I'll say one thing about Joshua. The guy happens to be a very candid individual. He'll be on sooner or later. Josh, don't worry. Hopefully sooner, but if he comes on later, he'll be it. That's all.
That's it. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call them today. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you. All right. We're going to get started here with our opening monologues here. Scott, go ahead and start with you. Good morning, and how's everything with you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Glad it's Saturday, not Friday. I wasn't feeling very good yesterday, but I feel a lot better today. So just in time for your show anyways, until I go insane over the weekend. But enjoying the week off from college football anyways. I have a free weekend to get more things accomplished.
All right. We're not only just on our regular platforms today on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We're also on Huddle Sports Network on Roku, and we're also on the South Florida Tribune network as well. So we're simulcasted on those networks. It's great to be part of those, and thank you for having us on the networks as well. But anyway, all right, let's get started.
Well, you know what, Ralph, I want you to put the last one up that Joshua put up. You know what, Joshua, good, you're a good guy. About the Jesse Stauber. I think this is important. This guy came into a show that we did, I think it was a couple of days ago. I've never seen a person. Yeah, I've never seen a guy make a complete idiot out of himself that he did. So, Josh, thank you very much for bringing it up. You're a man of integrity. And, I tell you what, Candy and JBL has policed it, especially Candy. And what Jesse did was completely, without question, uncalled for. And this is a good way to make yourself look bad. So, Josh, more power to you for bringing it on. That's a legitimate bum times 10. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
Times 10 on that one. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, well, it's the truth, though, Ralph.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you go back and watch the episode, you'll better understand. So, but, the one thing we try to do, you and I and Candy, is we want to run clean-cut entertainment. We don't need some jerk-off out there just doing stuff that's totally unnecessary and totally distasteful. And what Jesse Stauber did is he literally crossed the line. I won't get into specifics. That's why you can watch our show. It was the Sports Exchange actually on Wednesday night. Great show. It's gotten some unbelievable numbers. So Candy and JB Ellis did a great job policing it. And I just blew over it because our topics that night, as we try to make them every Wednesday night, are strong anyways. And it's my job as an executive producer and the host to keep on track. And that's what we were able to do that night. Once again, Josh, kudos to you, pal.
So, Ralph, you're looking awfully dapper today. You look very good. Tell us why.
Thank you. Well, I'm being honored today for Achieving Greatness Award for media here in the Pittsburgh area. and that's I'm going to a luncheon today from noon to 4, and then afterwards I am going to be at this location here. I will be at the in Butler, PA, not too far from where Donald Trump was, at the Tesla Crystal Room by the Ramada. I will be there for a wrestling event called the Pros of Wrestling. So if you want to stop by and say hello, bell time is 7:30 tonight for the Pros of Wrestling, and I will be there. And I also sponsor them as well through Wrestle Talk here, which is on every Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m. We weren't on this Tuesday because I had a important meeting I had to do on Zoom at 5:30, so that wasn't happening this week. But all right, well, we'll be back this coming week. Candy, welcome to the program, filling in again for Leo Haggerty. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good, Ralph. Like I said, you're looking awfully dapper, and
Thank you.
Scott, you're sporting your alma mater there, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, well, my alma mater. No, I don't. I've never gone to Pitt, but what I do like Pitt as a fan. I've been following Pitt since I was 5 years old, and I watched the Jackie Sherrill days and the Dan Marinos and Alex Van Pelt and a lot of other quarterbacks we've had over the years. All right, let's see here. Josh says, and we know what that's about. All right.
To do with the whole bum that he said earlier. Basically,
Yes.
give everybody just a quick overview. Someone in the chat was demeaning somebody and talking bad about somebody on the broadcast or in our chat, and there's no room for that. You can bring up subjects, but not anything that demeans anybody on either the chat or on the show. So that's what it was in regards. So we banned him, and that's all we're going to say about it. But
Yeah, I mean, but Blows and Josh have every right to make these comments, because what they're trying to do is they go out there and believe in what's right. And Blows and Josh have come a long way, as their participation has definitely drastically improved as time has gone on. And I credit those individuals whom I've given constructive criticism for what to put in there, and they've done a great job accepting it in a positive way.
All right, my little dog is here. He come in to say hello to everybody, so he's going back into the other room. So there you go. All right, I'd make him part of the show, but
Right.
well,
if you did that, I'd make my two cats part of the show. I love my boys. Our boys, they're good boys.
You know it. All right, our bum segment is brought to you in part by Scott's book, Lessons from the Microphone: Turning Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. And Scott is also coming out with an audio version coming real soon as well. Go get it in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and also from the publisher if you need to get the book. It's a great book about his 40 years more of experience in the media business.
Well, I should also point out, Ralph, that I'll begin working on the second book probably around sometime mid-January, because I wanted to do a second one with certain updates or certain things that I didn't include in the first one. So, after football slows down a little on my end, then by all means, I'm going to begin outlining it, and then hopefully I'll be able to put my foot on the gas, beginning February and March, so we can get it released sometime in the spring.
All right. Okay, let's start with you, Scott. Your bum for today.
Oh, this is an easy one. Adam Silver. Really? Okay, one of the things I hate is the NBA Cup. Shaquille O'Neal went out there publicly and said the NBA is absolutely a joke, pretty much paraphrasing it, because it relies on three-point shooter. It's a boring league. And you know what, Shaq? I'm on your side all the way. Charles Barkley's been adamant about it. Bring back old physical basketball. The problem with Adam Silver is there's perception and there's reality. Sorry, Adam. Okay, David Stern isn't walking in the door. You bring on these gimmicks like the NBA Cup. Okay, where did that get Darvin Ham last year? A one-way ticket out of LA to Milwaukee. And the NBA Cup, I don't mind the play-in situation, giving 4 teams at the end of the year an opportunity to play. That one's not bad. I can handle changes. But Adam, get real, man. Start watching 80s and 90s basketball when defense actually made sense, where you don't always have to go out there and outscore everybody. That's a joke. Listen to guys like Shaquille O'Neal, Barkley. They played when the league was good, drawing numbers. Gimmicks aren't going to work over the long haul. There's a big rule is you can't fool your audience, no matter how much you want to go ahead and do it. When you have a cake, there's a couple different ways to eat it. You can eat the cake or the frosting. Me personally, I like the frosting. Okay, but you can't have frosting around the entire cake because that's the equivalent to a Krispy Kreme donut. Of course, in Jeremy Ballrick eyes, that might be Diet Mountain Dew or Mountain Dew, but that's beside the point. Adam, quit trying to fool your audience, okay? Because it isn't working. Your numbers are what they are, and that's it. So, Shaq, I'm with you all the way. I met Shaquille O'Neal, I think, one or two times when he was over at the Palace of Auburn Hills playing for the U.S. Olympic team. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, Charles Barkley. A lot of these guys who you see on TV are some of the classiest people on the planet. So, Adam Silver, okay, you learn from David Stern, but up to this point, I don't know what you learned because it isn't helping you because you're looking pretty stupid. Or let me bring up a doggy reference that Blows and Joshua are making. You're a doggy in this particular situation, Stern. Let's get with the program, the real program.
All right, Candy, your bum.
My bum is going to be out of the sports arena, and it's actually out of the United States. My bum are the Haitian gangs that are shooting at planes that are trying to bring humanitarian supplies to the folks in Haiti. That country is just under such duress and unrest. In fact, they say that 85% is taken over the capital by gangs. And the fact that they're doing all this, it really gets me. And yes, people are going to say, well, why is my bum outside of the United States? I have friends that are from Haiti that still have family back there. And it's just sad because 3 planes were shot at within the last week. So the U.S. has stopped all United States flights for a month to the country of Haiti. So, and the worst part about it is if you're there, you're stuck there now. Like, how do you get back home and how do you get your family out of there? And it's just sad. It's just really sad. That's my bum.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. I have 2 bums today. First, we're going to start with Blog Talk Radio. I had shows on there many times. I worked with Mancini Media, and now they have decided at the last minute to send out letters to everybody or emails to everybody telling them that they're going to shut down at the beginning of the year. Thanks a lot for letting people know that. Although I'm not on the network no more, I still have an account, but I just don't pay anymore. I don't do it, but I still have a phone number and an account there with them. And I kept it like that in case I ever had to go back to it, which I didn't plan on doing anyway. But still, they're going out of business at the end of January. That's my first bum. And one of the guys that I know that has a show on there, Dr. Roscoe, has moved to the radio station where I have my 2 shows. So at least he was able to find an alternative there. And a couple other folks like Joe Kuglis from the, Draft Nation had a show on there as well. And he moved his show out as well.
Well, Ralph, let me incorporate this. Okay. Lou Landers went ahead, one of the guys I met through Mancini. Talked me out of going on, and it's the best move I ever made listening to Lou, and I never got started with him. So, Lou, if you're out there listening, great job. I appreciate it. And I've never looked back on the direction, but you certainly made my life a lot easier because he had to go out there and delete a lot of shows, and I don't want to do that.
Right, exactly. And I appreciate you as well because you were the one that convinced me to get off that network. And I finally did after 2 months. I couldn't put shows on because they were having issues. They got hacked and it took 2 months to fix it. And I couldn't put my shows on there and I was really disgusted.
Well, they did you a favor. What are you talking about? Don't be stupid. Turn a negative into a positive. Are you nuts? Just because you're dressed right doesn't mean you don't have a few screws out there worry about them. Get over it, man. We found you a better spot. By the way, another bum, if you haven't decided to mention, was Jake Paul. I don't know if you were going to bring it up.
Oh, yeah, I was going to bring that up, the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. I thought that was a bum of a fight. One of the worst fights I ever saw. The undercard was better than that fight. There was a couple that WBC fight with Rios and Sabata, I think it was. That was a good fight. The women fight with Taylor, and that was a good fight. And all of the undercard fights were better than the Jake Paul Tyson fight. I thought Tyson didn't take it to him as much. He should have took it to him. Should have knocked him out. Tyson did nothing. He stood there and took punches from Jake Paul and just stood there like a statue and really didn't do a whole lot.
Well, he's
And,
58 years old. What the hell do you expect to walk into a ring like that with this guy at 58? You know, hey, listen, you know what?
58 years old. I'm taking
Wait. Time out, Williams. Okay. My wife gave me the best recommendation instead of watch that garbage. You know what it was? Hogan's Heroes, baby. And you know what? They even had the chimpanzee. I knew I couldn't get it out right.
Right.
Chimpanzee on. It was great. I love my guys, Sergeant Schultz. I love Hogan. I love Klink. They're good people. 10 to 11. Who needs Jake Paul? Who needs Mike Tyson? Give me Hogan's Heroes, people. I love it. Good stuff. Thank God my wife got that in there for an hour.
All right. Our next segment coming up here is brought to you by. Yes, go ahead, Candy.
I just want to quick just add. I like Joshua. His bum is Netflix for hosting such a bad flight. And from what I've heard, the streaming was horrible. Some people it worked really well. Some people it didn't. So, you know, that bum, I agree. Having Netflix try and do that was awful.
I will say one thing, though. The announcer is very good. Morrow, I forget his last name off the top of my head, but he used to be a WWE announcer, and he's really good at what he does in boxing. And, you know, he was good. Roy Jones Jr. was a deadbeat. And then they had Rosie Perez there, who basically just added her 2 cents small, you know, in and out of there. So I thought that was a bad combination. But Mauro Ranallo is his name. And you know, and he's a very good announcer. And, you know, I thought he did a really good job with it. But the fight itself, the stream was bad. Netflix is going to be televising the Steelers-Kansas City game Christmas Day. They better get their act together and do it quickly, because if they want to get into this sports stuff and people pay for a membership like I do, then you better doggone do something to get it right. And I agree with you on that, Candy, and I agree with the fact that did happen last night. Fortunately, I got lucky this morning, and I watched it on YouTube this morning when I got up. So I was able to watch the entire fight on YouTube, which was great because the stream was bad last night. It was horrible trying to get the fight in, and it was going in and out and everything else. So I just got a little frustrated with that. I was not happy with the fight itself. As Scott said, you know, Mike Tyson looked like a 58-year-old. The last time I saw a fight like that was Tommy Morrison versus George Foreman. I thought that Morrison put up a good fight. Foreman at least put up a better fight than Tyson did in this one. And
that wasn't a bad fight when you think about it. I mean, that was a battle. What you had there was, you know what this fight, from what people are telling me,
it was a joke.
Well, here, listen, I'll take you back in time. You ready? This is what got Howard Cosell knocked out. So maybe it was a good fight. Randall Cobb against Larry Holmes. Oh, I'll tell you, if you can go ahead and get Howard Cosell off the air, who retired right after Larry Holmes and Randall Cobb, it's a good fight, because then you got that two-paid loudmouth off the air once and for all. If that's all it took to get Howard Cosell off, I want to see it again. YouTube, bring back Randall Cobb and Larry Holmes. It got rid of Howard Cosell. Where's Jay when I need him? Really? Seriously? Bring it back, because you saw it last night on Netflix.
All right. Also this week, legendary announcer, and he's still with the Pitt Panthers. He's been doing the football for 50 years. He's been doing basketball for Pitt for 56 years. He's the oldest, longest tenured broadcaster in college football. Bill Hillgrove had a birthday this week, and also his 50th anniversary and his 56th anniversary of doing basketball. I want to congratulate him. And a new book out of Myron Cope. I don't know if those of you know, Myron Cope was a longtime color analyst for the Steelers. Yoy, double yoy, triple yoy. Well, it's called double yoy. It's a new book out with Myron Cope, as well. So those of you who are Myron Cope fans, you can go out and get that as well. He was rated the number 4 broadcaster in the NFL top 10. So, and Howard Cosell was rated number 3.
What? He was rated all 3 all time?
Yeah.
Yeah, by
on
who?
the NFL Network's top 10.
Yeah. Well, maybe was he rated all top 3 all by Netflix?
No, not Netflix.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Hey, Ralph, I need some more work one-on-one with you, man. I know you're all dressed up and you look dapper, Ralphie, and all that. Get real, man. The guy is looking dressed for success. But Howard Cosell to me couldn't carry my jockstrap, and I will take my O.J. Simpson interview over Howard Cosell all day
Day
long.
long. All right, let's get back into the show here. This
Well, we
segment,
are into the show. I'm just giving you the Motor City Madmouth version of Saturday instead of what shouldn't have, thankfully wasn't Friday, and that would have been a disaster waiting, as my wife would tell you. We're back into the show. I'm loud, man. That's where we're at.
I know. All right, call Alex's Flowers today. 30 years in the flower business. 412-661-6071. Alex's Flowers, weddings, funerals, private parties, anything you need for your sweetheart as well. Alex is there. Alex's Flowers. Also, if you need good car repair, call Big Dog Auto. 412-999-0191. Right out by the Allegheny County Airport on Buttermilk Hollow Road. Big Dog Auto. Oil change, brakes, and state inspection, and much more at a really good price. And he does the work right. He won't take it to the cleaners. Big Dog Auto. All right. We're also in Namada Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And this next segment is brought to you by DraftNation.com. If you need any draft coverage, these are the guys these are the pros of draft coverage. DraftNation.com. Also, they have a e-magazine they'll put in your inbox for $9.99 a month. They break the skinny down of all different types of drafts. Draft Nation. All right, Candy and Scott, let's get back into this. John Robinson passed away this week, 89 years old. Scott, we'll start with you. Your thoughts, John Robinson.
John Robinson was a successful coach in the NFL and college. What else can you say? Won a national championship in college and knew how to handle personality as well. As a matter of fact, my co-host on Inside the Pigskin, Mel Farr Jr., played for Coach Robinson, and I gave Mel an opportunity on Tuesday night to say whatever he wanted, and Mel had
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
For him. So John Robinson is one of those rare birds that succeeded in both the NFL and college. But John Robinson, from what Mel has told me, very personable individual, cared about his players, and those are the only types of coaches that make it in both leagues. You can't have one who's one of those military or directive type of things. So rest in peace, John Robinson. 89 years old isn't too bad. So, you know, he was a success. He tried to do some things with the UNLV football program a little bit earlier in their existence, but he didn't have a bad run there. But everybody will always know that John Robinson did well over at USC as well as with the Rams. More power to him, and that's why I gave Mel an opportunity to say whatever he wanted because it was justifiable.
Yeah, I remember growing up with watching John Robinson when he was with the Rams, USC. I hear he was with the last coaching job he had. I heard he was. Jeremy said he was an assistant at a high school somewhere in California. He was doing some kind of work there.
San Marcos.
Oh, he's a Southern California icon. What do you want to know?
Yes,
I mean, that's
absolutely. Go ahead, Candy, with your assessment of John Robinson.
So he was born actually in Chicago, Illinois. So he's originally a Midwestern. He coached. He's best known for his two stints as head coach of the University of Southern California from 76 to 82 and 93 to 97, and for his tenure as head coach of NFL's Los Angeles Rams from 83 to 91. His USC teams won 4 Rose Bowls, captured a share of the national championship in 1978. He is one of few college football head coaches to have non-consecutive tenure at the same school. In 2009, he was elected into the College Football Hall of Fame. He worked for the Raiders. He worked for, like we said, the Rams, UNLV. And yes, his last stint was defensive coordinator for San Marcos High School in California. He has worked as an administrator, a head coach, an assistant coach. He won Coach of the Year back in 2000. 3-time national champion as an assistant coach. He's just had a heck of a coaching
career. Yes.
You know, I mean, what else can you say? Like,
right.
Success. That's awesome.
Yes, it is. It's big time success, and may he rest in peace, John Robinson. What a successful coach and a just a great guy overall. Like Mel Farr said, I watched the show on Tuesday. It was great to hear some of the things Mel had to say. Working hand in hand with John Robinson. Okay, let's go into our next segment here. We're going to talk NFL here. Some games coming up this week. That's brought to you in part by Robin Campbell Insurance, Farmers in Bristol West, 412-366-3399. All types of insurance. My biggest thing is renters insurance. Please get it. We had a fire here in our building. Some people didn't have it. It's only $10 or $15 a month. It's not that expensive. It's affordable. Get renters insurance. Do not trust your landlord at all for anything. Please get the renters insurance, 412-366-3399, auto, life, and more.
Well, Ralph, I think we should explain. So if people don't understand what renters insurance is, renters insurance covers your property inside wherever you're renting. Whereas a landlord is not going to cover your contents. They're only going to cover their building. So that's where the big difference is. And these days, when you have iPhones and computers and all of those, you need to have separate riders for your insurance for that. Otherwise, if something happens and you don't have insurance, you're having to fork over money to buy all of it new.
Oh, absolutely. And they have companies out there now that offer that insurance. I saw one last night when I was watching the fight on Netflix. I saw something about, or before that, I saw something on the TV about it. But I'm thinking about getting to cover my phones and stuff like that. So, but anyway, yeah, I do urge everyone to please do that, and I'm going to continue to do that because that's very important. As Candy mentioned, we had a fire here. A whole bunch of people got displaced. The Red Cross had to come in and give them a place to stay, and a lot of these people lost a lot of things: water damage, fire. I was three floors up from in the same row as the window of where the fire happened. I had smoke in my apartment. I had to have somebody come in here and clean out my apartment from the soot from the smoke, and it was just amazing. I've never been through that, so I wouldn't know what. All right, some of the games we're going to look over here. Some really joke of a game. Here's one: the Browns and the Saints. We'll start with you, Scott. Browns and the Saints. What a game here this is. Two teams that are just really kind of losing the way and deteriorating in the wind. Your thoughts, Scott?
Well, the only really thing that I can mention about the Saints right now is we'll see if their interim coach can provide enough energy to earn the job full time. Otherwise, I think the Saints job has a strong chance to really go to Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator for the Lions. Otherwise, you're right. There isn't a lot of intrigue to it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's face it. Wait a minute. Jamison Winston's coming back. He had a 4-year stint in New Orleans, so that'll be kind of an interesting storyline. How he performs on the other side.
Plus 22 wants a station break. I'll give you a station break. You can.
Hey, you know what, Ralph? You want to know something? You want to know a crazy station break to do? I'll throw one at you. These guys here crave Candy station break, so every once in a while you can let her do it here on this. It may not be yours, but it's all part of the fact that we bring up on Fire Up, and these guys love hearing her voice and the way she does it. But that's okay. It's a lighthearted moment. It's Saturday morning. I get you, blows. I breathe you, man.
Hey, it's the second part of my triple header Saturday. 8 to 9, 12:50 a.m. The Answer, and 92.5 FM. The Ralph Williams Show that just aired, and now we're in the second show here, the External Bum Show, and then later on we have the Sports Corner Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree, also on 12:50 a.m. and 92.5 The Answer. So, and I'll be getting my achievement award today, and then I'm heading to a wrestling event. So it's a busy day for me today. It's a busy Saturday, and shows, and also attending events. And it's great to get this award for achieving greatness as well. Let's see what we have here. I have one, Ralph. He has a radio show called Modifo and AC. All right, there we go.
There you go. Okay. Hey, outside
he's trying to do your station break for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's look into some other games here. We saw the Commanders play the Eagles this week. Eagles won 26-18. That wasn't a bad game. Colts and Jets. This is an interesting game right here. Let's start with that, Scott. You'll start with you. Colts and Jets.
Well, if there's ever a time where you want to bring up soap operas and dramas, you got the right game to do it. Okay. The reality is Anthony Richard is going to be back as starting quarterback. So be it. Then you have Aaron Rodgers, who's hoping to salvage what you call a dumpster fire year so that he can collect more money in 2025 to make sure that his time in New York and the Big Apple doesn't turn into a rotten apple. So you know what? I'll give Rodgers his due, and maybe New York can somehow find a way to carve out a win. The main question is, will Anthony Richardson ever learn that you have to play the full game and don't leave because you're a little too tired and fatigued? Because that's a good one-way ticket to get out of the NFL and into the UFL or the IFL, the Iceland Football League.
Excellent football. I like that. All right, Candy, your thoughts, Colts and Jets.
So it poses the second youngest quarterback against the oldest quarterback in the league. And had they not made the switch, it would have been the two oldest quarterbacks in the league with Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. But obviously they made the move to go back to Richardson. So they went with, so it's now going to be the second. Richardson, he's struggled this year. And it'll be interesting to see if these weeks off and watching Flacco and knowing that he could get benched again. But no, if you get benched again, you're done. Like you're going to be history in this team. So you really have to make the most out of your opportunities. I would say neither of these teams are where we thought they were going to be the beginning of the season. Everybody kept saying how the Jets were going to have a really good season. They have all kinds of weapons. They have all kinds of, players, but it hasn't gelled. It hasn't worked out. They fired their coach. So they're 3-7 and the Colts are 4-6. It'll be interesting to see. And what I'll say is, as much as we all say these are bad matchups or they might be a bad game, they might not be. They might be bad teams, but two bad teams playing each other might actually be a good game. I hate to say that, but so it'll be interesting to see who shows up, which team of theirs shows up, which Anthony Richardson shows up, and for how long.
The only thing that'll come out of this game is the Detroit Lions will have live film on the Indianapolis Colts. Next opponent next week as they get ready for Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Two games that I like that are rivalry games, Bears and Packers. That's Candy's Packers here playing the Bears, and the Steelers Ravens. That's both of those games are going to be great games. They're going to be dogfights. I think, no matter what the record is, when it comes to a divisional game, especially the Packers and the Bears and the Steelers and the Ravens. Scott, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on those games.
I could care less. I'm more interested in the Lions and the Jaguars. But
yeah, there you go. That's going to be.
I am looking forward to the Lions and the Jaguars. Lions obviously coming off a great performance against Houston. In the second half, the first half, well, if you fall asleep, so be it. But no, I was glad with the Lions. In terms of the games, I don't think there's any question the Packers are going to win. They'll win by double digits. Chicago is very dysfunctional right now. They're on the verge of ruining another quarterback. You mean to tell me Justin Fields and Mitchell Trubisky shared the same fate as poor Caleb Williams? You bring in a lame duck coach, you're going to fire him. He has to have, to me, start all over again. So I think the Packers win double digits. What was the other game that you mentioned?
The Steelers Ravens.
Where's the game being played?
Oh, yeah. There you go. Candy, your thoughts
on
this?
Where's the game being played?
Oh, here in Pittsburgh.
Well, I'll give Pittsburgh the edge.
Okay.
Yeah. Just that, the edge.
Yeah. Most of the games that we've played the Ravens in have been 3 or 7 point games. It's been either a field goal to win it, or it's been a touchdown to win it, or it's been a 2-point conversion or something to that effect to win the game.
So if you do any hashtagging, hashtag the word edge. Not that I know anything about hashtagging.
All right. Candy, your thoughts on these two games?
Bears Packers is the oldest NFL rivalry in the NFL. And Bears fans hate this. They love sticking it to Green Bay, of course. But the last time the Bears beat the Packers was over 2,000 days ago. It was in week 15 of 2018. So it's been quite a while. Here's what I'm going to say. I always say this about a team that is doing well, playing against a team that is horrible. Make sure you don't overlook or look past these, because sometimes these can be trap games. You got to make sure Chicago's having not a good year. They're 4-5. We're 6-3. But the Bears always bring it when they're playing an NFC. Any of the NFC teams, North teams, when they play each other, they elevate their game to another level, no matter what is happening in the season. So Love is going to be quarterback. Let's hopefully he was able to rest because they had a bye last week. So hopefully he got healthy and they can, I hate to say it, but stick it to the Bears, because that's just what the rivalry is like.
Well, let me add something to that too. The X factor in this game will be Malik Willis. If for some reason or other Love shows signs and he's not up to par, Malik Willis is a heck of a quarterback. The Tennessee Titans made a huge mistake giving him away to the Packers for nothing. And obviously, with some good coaching in Green Bay, Malik Willis still has a good future as a pro in this league.
Well,
yes, he does. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you on that.
I'm not going with you on this one, Blows. I don't go out there and provide bad information. If you want to do that other places, but my friend, it won't come from me. I don't want to hear it with you guys with your FaceTime calls either, that I had any reason to do with your loss. No way. I wouldn't touch that with a 50-foot pole.
No, I don't either.
The other thing I do want to say, because we haven't touched, or at least I haven't touched on this either, is remember to watch Caleb Williams now, because the Bears have a new offensive coordinator after firing Shane Waldron and replacing him with passing game coordinator Thomas Brown. Now, the question is what kind of an effect will that have on Caleb and the whole offense? So that's also something new that, we have to take into account as well.
But Candy, that move was made to save Matt Eberflus's job. Let's not kid ourselves. Coaches will make drastic decisions just to save their job. Whether it's too late in the game or not remains to be seen. But if that wasn't the most obvious decision on the planet, then I don't know what was. So, changing offensive coordinators in the past during the middle of the year has worked before. I remember when I believe Ben Johnson took over for, was it Lombardi Jr.? Is it Vince Lombardi Jr., I think it was, or one of the Lombardi kids that had the job, and it worked out. But it doesn't always work that way. It can work out, but I think the Bears are still a little bit too far behind the Lions and the Packers at this point. The best they can hope for is that another team somewhere in that conference trips up where they back end.
All right. This next segment coming up, we're going to talk about college football and a little bit about college basketball if we have some time. The Steel City Yellow Jackets, our ABA team here in Pittsburgh. Get on their website, steelcityyellowjackets.com. and check out their the ticket prices. They are up here where I live in the Allentown section of Pittsburgh. They play at a community center gym. Check it out. There's some great basketball in the ABA. Also, if you're interested in sponsorship advertising with RW Media, please call 412-545-4317 or Ralph Williams 737 at gmail.com. You get 6 podcasts, 2 radio shows, and advertisement on www.rwmediaproductions.com, all included in the price as well. And then also brought to you part by the original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, 412-264-4444. Eat in, take out, or delivery. A bunch of college games going on today. Pitt and Clemson. You got the high school games going on today. Stop and get a pizza at original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, 412-264-4444. Mention my name, get an discount on your order. Okay, we're going to get into some college games here. And I tell you what, Alabama has a really tough game today. They're playing Mercer.
Yeah. I looked at the games, and I knew you were going to bring college football up, and I don't know. Great minds think alike, Williams. I know you really well. I knew you were going to come up with a sarcastic one like that, but that's okay. If you're
No,
looking for a pick 'em on that, you definitely picked the wrong football game for that.
all right. Go ahead, Candy. You were going to say
I'm
something.
going to say that they don't even have they don't even have a line to see how many points ahead they are predicting Alabama to be.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
would you?
I
Would
think
you?
it's Mercer State Prison or something.
Yeah, you have about the same line that you have on the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight with that game.
There you go. All right. Let's
Can I, Ralph? I just want
go
to
ahead.
interject since we're on the topic of college football. I have to give credit to Indiana. They did extend Kurt Signetti. They agreed to an 8-year contract extension through 2032. Contains
Yes.
an average annual compensation of $8 million. It has
Wow.
a $1 million retention bonus. Since arriving on campus, Coach has been one of the greatest architects of turning a football program around. Let's face it, we all
Yes.
think of Indiana as a basketball program, but yet they're 10-0. It's the first time they've been 10-0. It's the first time they've had 10 wins in a season.
Yeah, this is his second Indiana team. He also coached Indiana University of Pennsylvania and did a really good job there. He's from the Signetti tree here in Western Pennsylvania. The father, Frank Signetti Sr., Jr., was an assistant coach with Pitt. He got fired last year at the end of the year, but he's been around the block as well. But Kurt has done a really good job with James Madison. Now he's at Indiana. He's doing a good job there. Kurt Signetti and the family.
Well, let me point this out to you as well, Ralph. On Inside the Pigskin this week, I led off with that as my main story about Kurt Signetti. And that we had a great time talking about it. It's great. The only thing that a lot of people wonder would somebody poach them away. But Indiana, even though they're not as high a tier Big Ten school, they're in the Big Ten and they're getting all that revenue from the Big Ten. I don't care how high or low you are. Look at the dive that USC, Washington have made for where they were a year ago. They're eating humble pie. So we led off with that on Inside the Pigskin this week, and I'll tell you what, it was one of our best Inside the Pigskins and good shows. So I'm glad to see him get rewarded, but to say that I'm surprised, absolutely not. No, I'm not surprised that he got it, and I hope that Indiana maintains football relevance for a long, long time, because few people realize that Louisville was always a basketball school until one of my father figures, Howard Schnellenberger, turned it into a football school. We all know where that
Howard
program has gone. You're seeing the
Bobby
same
Petrino was a good coach there. I mean, Bobby Petrino at Louisville. He was,
but not to the significance that Schnellenberger and with Signetti are going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Signetti's doing it in the Big Ten.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, you alluded to the James Madison situation.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, James Madison wasn't even on the map for a while. I mean,
but I'm going to tell you one thing about them. Don't sell them short. They were an FCS powerhouse, okay? Don't you ever sell FCS.
No, I will not. No, because I used to know a quarterback that played back in the 90s. His name was Eric Cawley. I drove a cab with his father, and he was the quarterback for James Madison. He did a pretty good job, and he almost made it through the NFL. So, I mean, James Madison is no pushover school. Youngstown State is a really good FCS type of school. There's a lot of them out there, So, all right, the next one here, and then this is Candy's favorite. But first, we're going to go into this one: Tennessee and Georgia. Georgia's been winning some games. Close call. They lost one, I believe, in Tennessee. Has been Steve Sarkisian has that team going in the right direction as well. We'll start with you, Candy. Tennessee and oh gosh, I forgot who they're playing.
Tennessee and Georgia.
Georgia, yeah.
Tennessee is first in the SEC. They're 8-1. Georgia is 7-2, fourth in the SEC.
They lost two.
They've lost a couple, and Tennessee is on fire lately. I mean, so I think it's their game to lose. That's what I'm going to say. Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts, Scott?
I think Tennessee will win, without a doubt. Georgia's on the decline. You know why?
Yes.
The SEC is getting better. Oklahoma will never be relevant in the SEC, but Texas gets it figured out.
Yeah.
They do. Again, you got to remember, Oklahoma doesn't have the plethora of talent, and Oklahoma as Texas does in
Right.
the state of Texas. Tennessee always finds a way. You get the right coach in there, they can win. And Josh Heupel's certainly an excellent coach.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, I meant Josh Heupel. I said Steve Sarkisian. He's with Texas. I'm sorry, I got the coaches mixed
Doesn't
up.
matter. Move on.
I'm going to. Okay, next. All right. Here's the game that I know Candy's interested in, and it's the Wisconsin game. And go ahead, Candy, with yours.
Let's face it, number one, Oregon, they're 10-0, and they're going into Camp Randall. So they're traveling to Camp Randall. Wisconsin's 5-4, and they're playing with their backup quarterback because their first quarterback is out with knee injury. They are predicting it's going to be about 42 degrees. They're predicting no precipitation. The last time these two teams met, and granted they were in different, at that time, different conferences, Oregon beat them 28-27. I do not think the score will be anywhere that close in this game. Unfortunately, as much as I love my Badgers, I do not think they will be very competitive in this game. Luke Fickell has switched the identity, has changed the identity, and I don't think everybody's bought into that identity yet, and I don't think they're playing up to, or that he recruited what he needs to implement the style offense that he wants.
I make no bones about it. Now, Wisconsin, everybody knows it's the worst kept secret on the planet. They're known for being a good running offense. All
Right.
Luke Fickell is trying to do is just turn them into a pro passing type of offense. And you may take your lumps first couple of years, but should he get that system implemented successfully, that's a place where Wisconsin may ultimately attract a lot more passers. So I like the potential of what Luke Fickell will do. Don't sell this game short. It could be, you say the game is being played in Wisconsin, right?
It is,
Yeah.
yes.
So that might bridge the score a little bit more to make it more competitive for Wisconsin. Because let's face it, Oregon doesn't play in temperatures like that, depending on what the temperatures are actually going to be out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Pitt and Clemson. And I want to go into what Scott said about changing things around. Pitt has gone into a go offense with Cade Bell as their offensive coordinator from Western Carolina, who was number one in the nation in offense for the FCS. And we're changing offenses as well. We had a power running game that we tried to execute last year. Now we're in a go offense. And right now we have some talent, but we don't have all the talent we need. And like Scott said, it's going to take a couple of years. And I remember when Nebraska used to run the football all the time. And then when Tom Osborne left, Bill Callahan come in after Frank Solich got fired and try to do something different with it. And it just didn't work out. So, sometimes you can't shove a square peg into a round hole, but what you can do is just wait and be patient, and the offense will come to everybody. Cade Bell's going to be an excellent offensive coordinator for Pitt if he stays. Somebody will probably give him more money, but I don't know about this year, maybe in the years to come. The last time I remember we had a really good offense was with Kenny Pickett and Mark Whipple. I thought Mark Whipple did a really good job with Kenny Pickett, as far as Pitt went. They went all the way to the ACC championship. This is a rematch of the Pitt-Clemson game. Kenny Pickett was a freshman. We beat him in, I think, 2019 in a game down in Clemson, and we beat them by 3 points. So I think that this game could be pretty good, even though we have a backup quarterback in Nate Yarnell in there. I think that's going to be a pretty decent game. Your thoughts on Clemson-Pitt, Scott?
Well, I'll give you my two games after I get done. Clemson-Pitt.
Go ahead, sure.
Well, Clemson still playing for something, right?
Yes.
They're playing for the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship. The road will probably go through SMU and Miami is what I think. But we'll see. Pitt, obviously, Pat Narduzzi's still there. They've been competitive. No reason to get rid of the guy. It'll be interesting. The two games I'm mostly interested, and I'll make this one really short. Florida Atlantic needs to win in the worst way against Temple. They just got rid of 3 coaches. And I know that ultimately that Tom Herman will turn that program around. He's had a couple tough years, But another one that intrigues me that most people won't even think about will be Ohio State playing at Northwestern at Wrigley Field. Once upon a time,
Oh,
the
okay.
Bears played at Wrigley Field. Northwestern right now is going, they have a temporary facility on Lake Michigan until their new place gets built in a couple of years. So anytime you can see two teams, of course, you all know that Northwestern's based in the metropolitan Chicago area, playing
Right.
at Wrigley Field. That'll be fun. And Ohio State has a big draw in the Chicago area. So regardless of the outcome, it's still good to see college football being played over at Wrigley Field. So I believe there's no question that Ohio State will win it, and Northwestern will take on Michigan next week. And for the Wolverines, there'll be an opportunity for them to become bowl eligible. And then Michigan gets Ohio State later in the month. But football, college football, Wrigley Field, you've seen it before. You're going to see it again today at noon Eastern time.
Absolutely. Candy, your thoughts on these games?
So I think let's see. The first game that you were talking about was the Pitt game.
Pitt versus Clemson, yes, and that's here.
That
here at
is.
Acrisure
I
Stadium.
think that bodes well for Pitt. I don't know that they'll beat Clemson, but I think there's always there's a chance, and I
Yes.
think because it's at home that gives Pitt a little bit better. Just like I said, Wisconsin gives them a little bit better on the, but yes, leeway. I do agree, Scott. Ohio State, just because they're playing at Wrigley Field, I think gives that game an intrigue. I think that game will be a blowout, but I think it just gives it an intrigue because it gives it a different perspective. For years, the Green Bay Packers played a game in what was County Stadium where the Milwaukee Brewers played. So putting a football game into a baseball stadium always it's a different element. It's always interesting, but those games I think will be pretty good. I think the Tulane Navy game might be pretty good.
Yeah, that's a game I looked at too that I thought might be pretty decent. Navy, I like Navy. They run a very high-powered offense, and Pitt's played them in bowl games, so I know exactly what Navy can do. Tulane, on the other hand, they seem to be still doing pretty decent for themselves as well.
Well,
All right.
if you're going to bring that up, don't forget once upon a time the Detroit Lions played at Tiger Stadium, and I saw games there. My dad took me as a kid, so unfortunately, I was at one of the most infamous games in 1971 when Chuck Hughes died of a heart attack, and Dick Butkus had to let the emergency people know that this guy had passed out, and I was at it. And it's a game that I'll never forget. And I actually mentioned it in my book, Lessons from the Microphone. So yeah, it's happened. Nowadays, it doesn't happen that way, but once upon a time, there were multi-purpose stadiums. That's how that's what they ended up having until everything's all switched up.
Yep.
All right, let's get into our final segment, and that is the local segment, and that's brought to you today in part by Folden Travel Mobility. Look, if you're handicapped like I am, and you'd like to get a folding power wheelchair to put in your car or in your vehicle to make your life a lot easier so you can go to a lot more places than you normally do, get a hold of FoldenTravelMobility.com. They have specials. They have experts that will chat with you. Also, if you want to call them, speak to an expert on the phone, 1-877-GOT-FOLD. That's 1-877-GOT-FOLD, 1-877-GOT-FOLD. Folden Travel Mobility. Look, if you're handicapped, don't sit at home and do nothing. Get a folding power wheelchair. Financing is available as well, and find out if your insurance company will cover it. They'll do all that for you. Folden Travel Mobility. All right. Also, Digital Data, who did my website, and they also manage it for me. Call them or get a hold of them. DigitalData.com. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you. www.rwmediaproductions.com. They did a really great job on my website. I don't pay them a lot of money, and you won't either. They have very low rates, but they do a whole lot more work. I had a company before that did nothing for me, and now I've got this company, and anytime I need anything done, all I do is email them and they do it. And that's Digital Data. All right. Now we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-201-0500. Call Mata. You ought to call Mata today. Winter's coming. Get that furnace fixed. Get the snow melt. Get the EUV lighting. Get what you need done with Mata. heating and air conditioning. All right, let's go to our local. Scott, we'll start with you.
Miami Hurricanes lost Georgia Tech last week, 28-23. Guess what? We found out that Cam Ward isn't Superman, but he's a super player. I'm not losing any sleep over the loss. I think, if anything, it could probably be the best thing that happens to the Miami Hurricanes all year. They lost a game. Guess what? They'll be back next week. Candy and I will cover the game against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. I expect the Hurricanes to play a lot better. They finish the year out at Syracuse. So maybe I hate to, as much as anybody hates to lose, every once in a while, if you have a hiccup once in a while, you just go back to work. You look at all the game film. Coach now has an opportunity to say, guess what? You lost the game, but it's just a game. Hurricanes are going to bounce back in a big way against Wake Forest next week, and they're going to make some noise, but I'm not going to lose sleep over a loss. I'm just more interested to find out how well they bounce back next week,
right.
Wake Forest and going forward.
All righty. Candy, you're local.
I'm going to say kudos to the Wisconsin Badgers basketball team, who are
Yes,
unranked,
basketball,
and they took down number 9 Arizona last night at home. They won 103-88 Friday night. John Tonje had a career-high 41 points, which is too shy of the Wisconsin record. The Wisconsin scoring record is held by Frank the Tank Kaminsky, who attended Friday's game as part of a ceremony because they honored the Badgers' 2014 and 2015 Final Four teams. They also raised a banner bearing the name of former coach Bo Ryan into the Kohl Center rafters at halftime. Ryan was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame last month. So kudos to the Badgers for having such a game when you had such an audience.
All right. My local is Pitt last night in the backyard brawl, the basketball version of it, beat West Virginia 86-62. It was great to see. It's great to see Jeff Capel has this team up and moving in his 6th year, I believe it is, that he's been with Pitt. And, you know, one thing I'll give Pitt credit for, they managed to keep both their men's coaches. The football team, as you mentioned earlier, Scott Patton Orduzzi's been with us for 10 years now. And now Jeff Capel's been with us for 6 years. There has been improvement as we go along. There's been some bumps in the road, as there always is. But now Pitt has learned to be patient with their coaches, and it's great to see that they're doing that as well. Hang on a minute here. Let me get rid of this here real quick, okay? And so it's great to see that. Today, Nate Yarnell will play for Eli Holstein in the game against Clemson at Acrisure Stadium. Look, don't sell Nate Yarnell out. He's not a bad quarterback. He can manage the game as long as the running game and they catch the passes and protect them. I think Nate Yarnell could have a good game. He has played in some big games and has won some games. So Nate Yarnell will be the starting quarterback today. And also Paul Skeens is about to win a couple more awards. He's also nominated for the Cy Young for the Pirates. And we also have a new hitting coach in Dale Cabbage. He is our new hitting instructor because we fired Andy Haynes, who came from Milwaukee there, Candy. Andy Haynes. So he's been fired. And we've had the Eckstein brothers there. I don't know who can help the Pirates with their hitting, but we'll see what this Cabbage or whatever his last name is goes. We'll see what happens there. And we have a new women's soccer team in the USL called the Pittsburgh Riverettes. And it's a women's soccer team sponsored by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the USL. That is it for my local. Anything else you guys want to add? And we'll get into our closing remarks.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you guys got an ABA team. I'm glad that Pittsburgh got some sort of pro basketball team. I'll be curious to see how it plays out.
Oh, thank you very much.
Who are they affiliated with, by the way?
Nobody. They're just on their own. It's called the Steel City Yellow Jackets. They play on their own. They took a year off. They won a championship 2 years ago. We had a big parade for them here, so they're back again. They took a year off. They had a women's team that they were sponsoring, some kind of women's team connected with the ABA as well. It didn't work out, so they went back to the Steel City Yellow Jackets, which
well, maybe with a little bit of luck, they'll become part of the NBA developmental league and be able to get pro basketball back there. I think that'd be great if it happens.
Oh, absolutely. There's been a little itch for some pro basketball here in Pittsburgh. So we'll see what goes on with that. But Scott, your closing remarks before we wrap it up.
Well, you know what? I'm going to turn over to Candy. She'll just talk about our information. I'm just looking forward to get back to work next Saturday to see how the Canes fare against Wake Forest.
All right. How can everybody get a hold of you? And we'll put your book up here while you're talking. So go ahead.
You know what? Floor's over to Candy. Go ahead, Candy.
So Scott wrote a book. It's called Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. Audio version will be available hopefully either late this year or early next year. Scott is writing a second book as well. There is also a link on our website where you can buy this book or any of Hello J.I. or you can a link to this book or all of our writing. Scott writes. We have a bunch of different people that write for us or great information on our website. It is www.southfloridatribune.com. We have our own YouTube channel. We would ask you to subscribe to ours as you subscribe to Ralph's. He kindly has us on his show and we have him on ours. We also have a podcast where if you like to listen to podcasts instead of watching, you can listen to us wherever. Our email is southfloridatribune@gmail.com. I am also on a all-female show. And we have a big guest coming up Tuesday night, 7:30. So go check it out. It's going to be 3 Chicks in a Pod or Chicks and Salsa. Tuesday nights, 7:30. But like I said, we have a big guest coming on. So you'll have to be there to find out who it is.
Hey, Jay, the beard's going away tomorrow, brother.
There you go. Yeah, I'm clean shaven today because I'm going to an awards banquet that they're honoring me for greatness in media through the Achieving Greatness Award here in Pittsburgh. So that's why I'm dressed up today.
Hey, Jay, by the way, I did mention Howard Cosell. Too bad you missed it earlier, but you can.
I know, yeah.
But you know what? Go ahead and listen to the show on our YouTube channel. You'll see that I did go off on Cosell earlier in the show.
All right. You can reach me on YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel, Ralph Williams, RW Media. Check out all my shows. I need 20 more subscribers to make 200. I'm also on YouTube. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter X. I'm on Tumblr, and I'm also on LinkedIn as well. And you can also look at my website, www.rwmediaproductions.com. I also have 2 radio shows, both on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's called The Ralph Williams Show. And my guest this week was Eric Montardi, who was on talking with us about Pittsburgh Public Schools and the budgets of the city of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. And then from 2 to 3 p.m. later this afternoon, 12:50 a.m., 92.5 The Answer. You can catch it on iHeartRadio Network or on their website as well. And we'll get into some of Jay's comments here real quick before we go. Thank you, Jay, for that. Thank you, everybody, for your comments and watching. For Scott Morganroth and Candy Ebling filling in today for Leo Haggerty and Jeremy Ballrick, who obviously wasn't on today. We'll catch him next week. I'm Ralph Williams. Thank you once again for participating in the show. Have yourself a great one. Those of you on Huddle Sports, thank you for being part of the program as well, and on the South Florida Tribune Network. Till next week, have a good week, and thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, there we go.